So, so from the 7 points, first one is train in all the preliminary practices. I think not just this, but in any Buddhist practice, preliminary is, if not more essential than the actual practice, but it's not less. So the preliminary practices play a major role, for the success of any form of practice that you take, either in the sutra or tantra. So here, the main body practice is to develop the true altruism, bodhicitta and emptiness. In order to develop bodhicitta and emptiness, not just intellectual knowledge just intellectual knowledge is not sufficient to realize the realization, experiential realization in bodhicitta and emptiness. Our intellectual wisdom is not good enough to really understand in experiential, understand in experience the bodhicitta and emptiness. Like Lama Tsongkhapa, one of great example, like Lama Tsongkhapa, within the Tibetan scholars and Tibetan great practitioners, Lama Tsongkhapa illustrated that he's one of the most stunning practitioner, most most intelligent practitioner among all the past, present, Tibetan great scholars. That Lama Tsongkhapa is, everyone agree that he is one of the very rare that who understood exactly what is the who understood exactly what Nagarjuna understood, the teaching of wisdom on Buddha's treatise. There are so many great scholars came in Tibet and tried to understand the teaching on wisdom, and in some way, somehow, that there's a limitations. But when it comes to Lama Tsongkhapa, he understood exactly what Nagarjuna understood, and Nagarjuna is one of the souls, who understood the Buddha's the essential teachings of the 84,000 teaching, which is teachings of the wisdom, emptiness. There's no clearer illustration than what Nagarjuna made. So, in the mid-age, when Lama Tsongkhapa, after rigorous study scholarly in a great scriptures, in particularly Wisdom Sutra, he even composed commentaries, and in the word, there's no limitation, to illustrate his understanding on emptiness. But then still, he realized that he was not realized emptiness in the experiential level. So when he come to that junction, that very critical junction, he has to seek advice from higher beings, who has higher wisdom, and and that very being is the Manjushri. So he consulted with the Manjushri, which is the wisdom of Buddha, that whatever that I intellectually understand, but why can't I experience it? And Manjushri replied that it's a lack of merit. Still there's an obscuration in your mind by the imprint of negativities, and the merit is not enough. So Manjushri advised Lama Tsongkhapa to go and engage in the preliminary practice. Go and engage in the preliminary practice, and he started with the practice of mandala offering. There are many different numbers of preliminary practices. 11 different preliminary practices, 10 different preliminary practices. But then 4 major preliminary practices. One of them is mandala offering, and another one is prostration. And the practice of refuge and practice of Vajrasattva, purification practice. So Lama Tsongkhapa started with the mandala offering. He went to, there's one place called Woga Choling. So he went to Woga Choling and did the preliminary practice of mandala. After some time, whatever he understood, he gained the experiential understanding, and that experiential understanding is the realization. And that understanding is that experience is beyond the word can describe. So the point here is that preliminary practices serve to purify the karmic imprints, and the practitioner accumulate immense of merit. And with the correct learning, the theory, the intellectual correct learning of the Buddha's teachings, such as the teachings of this or such as teachings of the wisdom. At the same time, there's a consistent accumulation of merit and consistent purification of karma through the engagement of preliminary practices will make us to realize the realization in the stages of the path. So learning and accumulation of merit and purification have to go along together. So this is something that what I experienced in Oxford University for the past now almost coming to 2 months. Some of the students who come to my reading class, some of them they have been practicing extensively, very devotedly, before they decided to take the PhD in Buddhist study. So they were in Nepal, they went to India, and some of them they even went to Tibet, and they were greatly influenced to practice, and they have a teacher, guru, and all their instructions, is so marvelous for them, and it makes sense to them, and they felt that is the meaning of their life. That is what they're going to do in the rest of their life. So, excuse me. So then after that they thought that if they understand more, if they study more, and the best way is to get some fun and take the degree. And they got a chance to do a PhD in Buddhist philosophy or whatever, certain texts, etc. Then after 1 year of their DPhil, and they says that now I have no interest in practice. And then They say, why not interested in practice? They say, now I start to feel that whatever the master says is a bit like lying, because many of the instructions, don't really see in the text. They say, I experienced that, and you should practice this way, you should practice that way. But when I research for one whole year, whatever scripture is, whatever physical scripture is available, and I don't see the exact word the guru say in the text. In the text says that way, but guru went the long way, or maybe some other way. Sounds like similar, but not exactly the text that I research. I have hundreds of texts, whatever is available, and they even start to feel maybe some of the Tibetan masters are lying. Yeah, well, no, they're expressing in honest concern, saying that sometimes they start to feel like is these masters are lying, because now after rigorous textual study, they start to believe that whatever they see through their naked eye in the text, then that should be the way, that is the real thing. But other than that evident, the rest is may not be fact, may not be, and also those texts for them to research is they try to research as old as possible, and that some kind of like start to neglect the later commentaries. Like in the Wisdom Sutra, Nagarjuna made a commentary on Buddha's wisdom teaching. So in that sense, if you refer to the Buddha's own word, then Nagarjuna have to delete. But then, during Buddha's time, yes, the people who met Buddha, they have a much higher merit than what today we have, and higher wisdom also. That's why they can able to understand with a few words of what Buddha said. But then later on, the degeneration continues, and by the time that Nagarjuna has to come out, to make it more elaborate. Then after that, then eventually, today's time now, even this had to make a commentary. Actually, this is a commentary of many commentaries. Because time change, people's way of, the culture is changing. Way of understanding, way of language is, how to say, need to adapt. And if we don't interpret in the language that I understand now, this teaching can be so marvelous, but then may not understand. Not even necessarily because of lack of merit, but just because of the changes, the impermanent. You see, so and the later commentaries actually make it much more clearer and clearer and clearer. So those are also need to include, not to discard. Just simply saying that has to be directly come out from Buddha's mouth. Yes, all the commentary that whatever taught, it's also come out from Buddha's intention. But during Buddha's time, don't have to elaborate so many words, because people have capability to understand that much. So then. Asked me to, beside the reading classes, need to do some quite a disciplined meditation sessions to bring them back. Otherwise, they are losing. So anyway, okay. Now again, I got distracted. Okay. Yeah, so you see, so need a lot of, so just intellectual study, so not enough at all to really to get the full benefit of Buddha's teaching. It has to go deeper than intellectual understanding and intellectual knowing. For that, then we need certain level of transcendental wisdom to really to understand what Buddha really mean it. So for that, we need to think deeper. And therefore, first learning, then gain the wisdom of learning. Then second is contemplate and gain wisdom of contemplation. Then on that wisdom of contemplation, then you bring into habituation, the meditation. Then from meditation, gain the wisdom of meditation, which is the realization in the path. So the academic, very much of those who just do the academic, intellectual way is do the first one, very thorough, amazing study, but then lacking of contemplation. So that's why cannot understand what is the intentions of Buddha of teaching this sutra, this teaching, that teaching. and instead of all teaching coming together in one point, all teaching sounds like contradicting to each other. You see, so so when you contemplate, then you can able to bring everything in one essence, one purpose, one intention. You see, even that is not good enough, because you need to habituate, have to experience by ourselves. Until then, we cannot satisfy. We cannot say, okay, this is enough. Until we ourselves experience whatever teaching is elucidated there, because all the teaching Buddha have given is his experiential expression. It's not a scholar explanation. It's an experiential expression. So all can be experienced, and his teaching is it suits to each and individual for themselves to experience entire that completion of the teachings. So meditation has to come in, so like that. So in order for us to, able to actualize all these three, important tasks, learning, contemplation, meditation, and gain realization, require the huge support of merit, accumulation of merit, and purification of the obscuration of the imprint of the past negative karma, and preliminary practice serve that purpose. So like in the Dharma centers, time to time conducting preliminary retreats, even it can be just few hours or a day. Wow, it serves amazing benefits to the practitioners. Their understanding, level of their understanding, just like a kind of shoot up. It's a great, it's amazing. And those of you who practice Tantra, the preliminary practice really makes the realization in both the generation and completion stage of the tantric practices. Each time you engage more in preliminary practices, then each time you read the sadhana, it makes greater sense, and that greater sense start to be part of yourself. Then, the whatever you describe in a front generation, it really becomes self-generated state of the divine deity's state. Whatever causal stage of the deity yoga practice, without noticing how it evolved into a resultant stage of actual realization of deity, it just went there. It just actualized like that. You see, and all this are possible because of the preliminary practice. So even like 3-year great retreat, one of the tantric, when you practice deity yoga practice, very disciplined practice or retreat within lifetime, like a 3-year great retreat. So within this 3-year great retreat, majority of time is actually occupied by preliminary practices. And that makes so long for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 moments of practice. Majority of time is occupied by the preliminary retreats. So, yeah. So I think this is, so you see, such as like prostration, if we just want to do in one place, not just prostration, but all the other preliminary practices like Bodhisattva retreats, mandala retreats, guru yoga retreats, or even deity yoga retreats, like even this high stoic tantric deity yoga retreats. I think any of us here who already receive initiations, who already have a bit of taste of tantra, surely want to do a lot of retreats, but no time. Because each retreat requires minimum of 2 weeks. If you do proper retreat, maybe about 1 month. Even a commitment retreats, like a prostration, it would take, even you do full time, it takes 3 months. Prostration retreat, 100,000 prostration retreat, take 3 months. So if you want to dedicate 3 months in Bodh Gaya to do the retreat, or do in the center, or do in the home, then you will lose your job. You will lose so many things. The grasping may not lose, but lose many things. other things unnecessary to lose, it will lose. So that's why, again, had to be practical in our today's time. Yes, tradition is one thing, but Buddha Dharma always, since Buddha's time, always given a very clear indication that has to adapt according with the convenience of the individual, based on your culture, based on where you are, based on your conventional responsibilities. Like when Buddha taught from just the 3 training wheel of Dharma, his speech changed from what do you call the meaning, the purpose is the same, but then in the letter or the speech, changed from first turning wheel of Dharma to second turning wheel of Dharma, second turning wheel of Dharma to third turning wheel of Dharma. Until third turning wheel of Dharma, he had to turn the third turning wheel of Dharma to clarify the first and second, because of the word is contradicting. But he has to teach that way because listeners are changed, and because of the different culture, different background, etc. And not only that, the Vinaya sutras are change based on location and the people's the culture, even the weather. So when Buddha's monks are in one place where there is no water, very rare water, Buddha say 3 months you cannot shower. If you shower, you will transgress. But then comes to a place, plenty of water, you say, within 1 day you don't shower, 1 meter is great. So it's so wonderful. It's not as long as it's not harmful, as long as it's beneficial, then it's not a kind of like a fix, as because I say so has to be like that, not like that. Go along with, you call adaptation. You can say that. So what I'm saying is, so I don't know, today maybe I become an obstacle to you all or inspiration to you all, I have no idea. Because in earlier I say the compassion, normally you say all the other sentient beings. And this morning this earlier session I've been emphasizing compassion start from you. So now people say retreat, you must lock up. You must lock up. People cannot see you. You cannot see people. So that's the traditional way. Now I'm going to make another kind of pull you back. Say, do retreat. You have to do right now. If you don't start today, we may not have this precious human rebirth next moment. Until you wait, your bank balance are full, your holidays are done, your children will grow up. By then you're already gone, who knows? And the precious human rebirth in the teaching talks about like so rare from the cause, so rare by its nature, wow, this and that, this and that. So that means this moment is so crucial, so important. So now, okay, since I'm distracted, so better get distracted more. So therefore, all these retreats, can be done without neglecting one's responsibilities. So such like prostration. So you set the, of course, the altruistic motivation inspired by the mind of renunciation, to achieve liberation for the benefit of all sentient beings. Then, so in order to complete the retreat, within 24 hours, you cannot break the session that which you have first started. You cannot be lesser than that in the number of prostration, even the effort, the physical effort that you put. So as long as you can continue like that until you accomplish the number that you committed to complete the retreat, then when you comes the day that it's a complete and dedicate, and you accomplish the retreat. So and the duration can be 3 months or 1 month, or can be 3 years, or can be 10 years. And sometimes, we keep getting older, and sometimes we may fall sick. Sometimes we may be 24 hours in the aeroplane. There's no way to do long prostration, or no way to do prostration, or any other practices, or become bedridden. But then one thing, even unless go to coma, then there's no choice. But otherwise, even had to stay in a hospital, but at least you can afford to do like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and setting up a motivation of engaging in prostration retreat. And the first day prostration is, just sitting, just do the hand gesture. Then do just 3 times, because in case you come to a position that even to do 3 times, it requires great physical effort because you are not well, and you may miss. But that much, I think, quite possible to do every day to day. So then end with the dedication. So that is the first session. Then second session onward, then if you have time, then you do thousands. But then the first session is the minimum requirement, within each 24 hours, until you come a day that you are come a day to dedicate the retreat, because the completion of the retreat and dedicate the retreat. So I've recommended this in Spain. I think Valencia. Or I think near Valencia, there's one center recommended in the year 2016. And just a few days ago now, the group, I think people, they because they really don't have time to really set time to go for retreat. Yet they want to practice. They really want to accomplish those commitments, because eventually they want to do the great retreat, the Daily Yoga 3-year retreats. You see, so without completing all these preliminary retreats, not possible for us to engage into the actual Daily Yoga retreats. So just about a few days ago, they started this retreat. So and so even when today we are starting the prostration retreat, the first session, maybe it may take less than 1 minute. Just simple one. Or maybe let's say you give 5 minutes. But then after that, then second session onward, 2 hours of long prostration, or 3 hours of prostration. And the rest of the day, you're so busy working, traveling, and you just make sure every day just do the first minimum that what you have done at the first session. But then weekend comes, full weekend is total free, and you do whole day session. And some like what we do, we get opportunity to go to Bodh Gaya, and we just dedicate our time morning to night to the prostration, and we come to completion of the retreat. So So like that. So any of the retreat, if we don't do something, find way to accomplish those, we will have a quite difficult to find a favorable time, and this way, in any way, will fulfill the purpose. In the past, most of these disciplines is very much dedicated for the monks and nuns, in Tibet, monks and nuns, because we stay in a monastery, we don't have family responsibilities, and you can just lock up months and years. But in the West, in particular today's time, it's so difficult to follow that way. Those who can able to do like that, wonderful, why not? But if you don't have that opportunity, then you need to find one alternative to accomplish all those practices. You see, so like example, right now, in fact, I'm conducting for the purpose of to really for all of us to do more retreat. I'm saying this, otherwise there's no other purpose. I have completed the Yametaka's 3-year great retreat when I was taking care of this little boy in Australia. I didn't choose monastery, I didn't choose cave. If I go back to my monastery, become most busy time. I don't think I can do my retreat peacefully there. A cave, after traveling around the world, after staying in the overseas, cave would be too tough for me. I don't think I can survive. But I wish to do the retreat, but at the same time, there's no other time. So what I did is, I did an open retreat, not a very, lock-up secret retreat. I did an open retreat, and it took more than 3 years, but even just to do the daily yoga, 1 million, the main mantra alone, 1 million main mantra, then there's a sub-mantras they have to do, and a lot of fire pujas, etc. But those mantras excluded the preliminary practices. It took almost more than 3 years, but at least finish. And the fire puja, all this, again, in the West is very difficult, especially in Australia, very strict. You make simply fire, very, very strict, a lot of bushfire. So what I did is, went to take the opportunity when went to Sarah, then in Sarah Monastery, then you get a lot of help from the tantric college monks. You just sit there and do, everything people help you to perform, and you done the fire puja. So then after that, about last August, I started the Vajrayogini retreat. Again, I want to complete the great retreat, but I won't have a chance to do with total lockup, because I find my life is being very meaningful, traveling around our APMD center, and sharing Dharma. And I think that is a great merit. I think that is very beneficial. And I find why you need to lock up for 4 years or 3 years, because I think you accumulate so much merit, go around and meeting people, sharing Dharma. and at the same time, how important and how wonderful to do those retreats. So why not you combine, So now my commitment is at least do 2 sessions a day. And there's no number, minimum number is like a sadhana number of the mantra, but 2 sessions. So 2 sessions, 1 in the morning, 1 at night, easily can be done. And also, I already make very clear in my mind that I'm not going to depend on the ritual implements. I'm going to tease all about the mind, visualizations, because that's for ritual implements for the daily yoga retreat is too many things to carry, and I always trouble. And just because I cannot carry ritual implement and I don't practice, again I'm losing opportunity, because you really don't know when you're going to finish your life. So whenever there is opportunity, of course you get everything there, even physical level. But If there's no opportunity, then all about is the mind. The visualizations and meditations, and the effect has to happen to our mind. Subduing our mind is the teachings of the Buddha. That what asked Buddha, what is the essence of your teaching? It's subduing your mind, conquering your mind, developing, transforming your mind is the teachings of the Buddha. So this, I think this can be done. I have to look around whether I agree or not. They're very serious practitioners. I make it very loose, But of course, if you have time, if you really able to do the strict way, how wonderful! I rejoice. But then also, if you don't have time, don't wait. That's what I want to say. There may be so many like me, who really want to do but who don't have time. Then just, I feel very much benefited. So that's what I want to say. Okay, now this is a distraction. So now the preliminary practice. One of the preliminary practices, preliminary of 4 contemplation. In order to turn our mind into Dharma, in order to change our worldly mind into a Dharma mind. So there's 4 contemplations that take as a preliminary meditation. So first one is the practice. First one is, what you call, reflect on the preciousness of precious human rebirth. I've already said this morning, the first session. So that's it. We just have to remind it now and then how precious our human rebirth is. No. Second is death is impermanent. That's why we have to rush everything what we want to do. If we want to really practice Dharma, have to practice now. Because death is certain, time of death is uncertain. And the nature of our life, nature of our aggregates, and nature of this human life lies in the nature of impermanent. Any moment can be perish. From any moment can transit from the life to no more life, life to death. So death in impermanent is one of very important preliminary contemplation in order to become our mind to become genuine Dharma mind, genuine renounced mind. The Kadamba masters often emphasize, if one morning forget to contemplate on death and impermanent, then whole morning is wasted. So if whole day didn't think of death and the reality fact of death and impermanent, whole day is wasted. Even you may be doing so many so-called as virtues or rituals or Dharma practices or whatever you want to say, but our attitude is not infused by the wisdom of realizing the fact of life is, in the nature of impermanent, then we say that our practice won't be solid, won't be genuine Dharma. Then the third is remembrance of karma, reflecting on the causality, law of causality. If you accumulate Dharma, it will actualize liberation. If you accumulate virtue, it will actualize, like higher rebirths and the positive results. If you accumulate negative causes, then the result will be suffering, you see. So even just creating virtue is not enough, to actualize liberation, actualize enlightenment. The virtue has to be Dharma. So what makes Dharma? What makes that virtue different from ordinary virtue? The difference makes by mind of renunciation and mind of inspiration to the liberation. So whatever virtuous action introduced by mind of renunciation towards entire samsara and its causes, and inspire to actualize, the purpose is to actualize liberation, enlightenment, then, with that attitude, offer one step of flower to the Buddha, become a cause of enlightenment, cause of liberation. Offer one bowl of water in front of Buddha, become cause of enlightenment. Just smile to somebody with that attitude, become cause of enlightenment. Virtue, but it becomes dharma. But without that, then, even you offer a bouquet of flower in front of the Buddha, it's virtue, but that may become a cause of being born beautiful face in human realm and eventually going to get old. Beautiful face because of offering flower to Buddha. You're born as a human being, beautiful face, but then when you reach age of 60, that beautiful face is gone. But then how wonderful if that bouquet of flower offer with the mind of dharma, the renunciation and inspiration to liberation, the result will be like Buddha's face, the ultimate beauty, the ultimate handsome. So that's different, like that. So it's very simple, but can make huge difference just because of that attitude. So that's why path, the dharma or the path is a ngenjungi samba choma maybe simbe kemba, the mind that which infused by the genuine renunciation towards samsara and its causes. You see, when that becomes spontaneous, then you gain the path in your heart. But if that is just intentional level, you are striving on the path, but then still the intention will infuse or change the action into a path, into a cause of liberation, like that. So then, the fourth is reflecting on the suffering of samsara. Always have to see the faults of delusion, which is the cause of samsara. See the faults of the samsaric nature, which falls only in suffering. Even the sensual pleasure, sensual happiness, is not a happiness. Even that, as long as the samsaric phenomena, it falls in the suffering of change. You see, so there's no question about the pain of wound. It's definitely suffering of suffering. Then more than that, the pervasive suffering that just this aggregates, as long as it is a byproduct of karma and delusion, then there's no hope to remain perfect. Everything will come to exhaustion. It's because of it being samsara. And not only that, all the environment, even the house, car, plants and air, water, fire, etc., all are byproduct of your own karmic imprint. Even that will become to exhaustion. Nothing to be attached. So whole purpose of reflecting on suffering of samsara is to gain detachment, not only to fame, name, status, etc., but also to detach your own this ordinary identity. Detach your own ordinary aggregates, detach your loved one or anybody. You see, so you generate affection and love to your loved one without grasping. You live a life without grasping. You have a big house without grasping. You drive a nice car without grasping. You enjoy nice food without grasping. You make a lot of friends without grasping. You go for swimming without grasping. You go for holiday without grasping. You see, the whole purpose is to let go of the grasping and the grasping will only let go, grasping will only go away from our side when we have a genuine renunciation towards the samsaric product or samsaric existent. You see, and as long as grasping remained, suffering remained. You know, as long as grasping remained, suffering remained. But because suffering there's no inherent suffering, it's just misconception. And what is that misconception? The grasping itself is the misconception. The grasping manipulate, our conceptual mind to experience, perceive and experience pain, and that, accumulate the toxic to decay, entire existence within the samsaric existence. So not only purifying the grasping in the conceptual level, we also need to purify the imprint of that grasping, which is the ignorant. You see, and the way to do that is to realize the wisdom. So in order for us to genuinely, get closer to realizing the wisdom, we need to purify a lot. And the way to purify those is like reflecting. A way to purify those is engaging in the Dharma practice. But what makes us to engage in a pure, proper Dharma practices, such as reflecting on the four preliminary contemplations, what I just said before. So like that. So now, verse 2, what you call the, from the 7 point, second point is, having gained stability, receive the secret teaching, consider all phenomena as a dream. So verse 2, verse 2 teach the actual body practice of the 7-point teaching, or actual body practice of the Mahayanic path, which is the true altruism, emptiness and Bodhichitta, or ultimate Bodhichitta and conventional Bodhichitta, or in another word, emptiness and wisdom and method, or you can say wisdom and method. So there are varieties. Certain teaching teach the conventional Bodhichitta first, then ultimate Bodhichitta later. But this teaching here express the ultimate Bodhichitta first, then conventional Bodhichitta later. So and also the point 2 from the 7 point 2 also a practice of morality. And point 1, before point 1 is practice of generosity. So this 7 point also, each point emphasize, focus on the 6 paramitas. So point 1 is the practice of generosity. That's why the preliminary practice involve such as 7 limb practices. The first one is a limb of offerings, a limb of offerings. And practice of generosity is one of a very powerful way to actualize merits, by making offering to the triple gem, by making charity to the needed sentient beings, So first one. So second one is a practice of morality. So morality here, one's individual that who truly attracted, who truly aspire to this teaching, or Mahayanic teaching, or who truly aspire to dedicate their life for the benefit of numberless sentient beings, ultimate enlightenment, then you need to commit to something. You need to commit to actualize and develop, engage the practice, and that is to take the inspirational Bodhisattva vow and engaging Bodhisattva vow. So, not just inspiring to practice Bodhisattva's path, but you really mean it. So you really commit to practice it, and the moral discipline is guarding one's mind from the influence of 18 root downfalls and 20 secondary 46 secondary downfalls. On the basis of if a lay practitioner, on the basis of 5 lay vows. If a monk or nun, then on the basis of the ordination liberation vows, such as preordination vows, 36 novice vows, 253 fully ordained vows. On the basis of that, then you take the Bodhisattva vows. So Bodhisattva vows has intentional Bodhisattva vows, intentional Bodhisattva vows and engaging Bodhisattva vows. So in short, as long as someone who commit to live a life according with the practice of 6 paramita, then you are observing the commitment of the both engaging and inspirational Bodhisattva vows. So if we want to discuss one by one, it goes so long and there are also a lot of similarities in the numbers. So the best way is six paramita, very easy to remember. So as long as we are committed to 6 paramita in your best ability, you are committing to the contact of Bodhisattva. You are committing to become Buddha for the benefit of all noble sentient beings. So 6 paramita. So therefore the verse 2, therefore the point 2, is teaching on the morality. So here saying, having gained stability, received the secret teaching, the teaching on the 2 ultimate bodhicitta and conventional bodhicitta, consider all phenomena as a dream. So first is from here the teaching discuss about the ultimate bodhicitta, teaching us to consider all phenomena as a dream. It's not saying that the phenomena do not exist. Here what it means is phenomena do not exist the way how we used to perceive. Phenomena like including self, aggregates and others, everything what we perceive from our 6 senses, it does not exist the way how we perceive. The way how we perceive is perceive as if is inherent existing. Perceive as if intrinsic existing. Perceive as if independent existing. Perceive as if permanent existing. Our mental perception towards our life, ourself, our mental perception of ourself as example, we perceive as on the basis of permanent misconception. As long as there's no wisdom of reminding that myself lies in the nature impermanent, and whatever the mind lies other than that, it is influenced by permanent grasping. That's why we don't have any concern of that I may not live tomorrow. We are quite sure that we will live up to tomorrow, and that itself is a permanent grasping. All of us look at in our mobile this day, we have planned for tomorrow, isn't it? I think all of us have. Some of you don't have. I have. I have planned for tomorrow. Go back. Already permanent grasping, infused by permanent grasping. You see. So, one of very good example of someone who live in impermanent awareness. Lama Sopa Rinpoche, Lama Sopa Rinpoche. His way of day to day living is like total awareness of impermanent grasp, impermanent impermanent awareness. So he lived fully in the present, and sometimes he missed the flight. He lived fully in the present. He missed the lunch. He lived fully in the present. That sometimes someone get into trouble. Sorry to say that. Why I'm saying is, I think one time in Singapore, Rinpoche was giving teaching. It's a long time ago. So he closed his eye and he been teaching. At first, the center hall is full of all the disciples, and teaching started sometime around evening, 5 or 6, something like that. And morning, around 3 or 4 o'clock, he opened his eye and the gompa is empty. Because everybody have to go back. And there's one, that's one case. There's another case that, because not always the couples come together. So sometimes one partner go to teaching, and sometimes you disappear a few nights. Then the other couple get worried, and the partner get worried, and sometimes they get into trouble. So that's what I'm saying, because you go to listen teaching, and the teacher just live total in the present, and there's no tomorrow, there's no today, there's no starting, there's no end. Carry on and on, 24 hours. So you see, so I get opportunity to be attendant to Lama Sopa Rinpoche for 3 years, around 1995, I think, quite some time ago. So I saw this what you call scenario. I saw the event of missing flight. I saw the events of no lunch at all. The lunch become dinner, or sometimes no lunch, dinner, or become morning breakfast. And I also saw an event that someone missed their flight because Rinpoche closed his eye and he's so into just advising, just teaching, and of course you are completely for you. And you don't want to leave, and you realize your flight is already gone. So anyway, so otherwise we are like so systematic, it has to happen just fixed. There's no fix in reality. There's no fix at all in our what you call the functioning phenomena. The nature lies in every moment, just without any choice. It just changes. The only way to fix is as long as you are totally in the present alone, without any kind of fixation on the next moment onward. That way, able to kind of like spread yourself, freely, past, present, and future. Otherwise, so anyway, so I think. Those of you who experience time with Lama Sopa Rinpoche, maybe you may realize something like that. It's, even nowadays, the attendance, 3 or 4 attendants putting full effort to stop him being punctual, but then it's still not happening. So, okay, now I get distracted. So regard all phenomena as a dream. So it lies only in the imputation from the mind. There's no true existence at all from any basis, including from the subject, the mind. everything comes interdependently. So therefore, there's a feeling of pain, there's a feeling of no pain, there's a feeling of neutral, there's a feeling of suffering, samsara, there's a feeling of nirvana, there is a state of nirvana, there's a state of samsara. So, like in the dream, even though, for the mother, the one beloved child, like kind of despairing from the life, even though they are not such in real, but then still bring the impact of pain. And that is very, very much because of not purified the negative idea, negative imprint in our mental continuum. So as long as we purify our negative imprints from depth of our heart, from entire state of mind, then everything relate to one's own apprehension as voidness, yet blissful. Then still see, in that voidness, still see beautiful stars, still see beautiful functions of the life. But then there's nothing to kind of grasp and hold on to, as if there's something to hold on to from his own side. So, so when we have a good dream, the beautiful dream, there's nothing from the object side or even from the subject side, hold on to inherently, but then still can be very uplifting state of night, and that can even affect your tomorrow because of the wonderful, beautiful dream. And and in actual fact, we can experience fully like that. So in order to do that, then from this very moment, we need to develop, we need to familiarize with the, the idea of the wisdom, wisdom of no self, wisdom of no inherent self and phenomena. So even just simply by introducing to our mind that all phenomena are as a dream, that alone, the word that alone, even we may not understand or experience what it really means, but just that alone is so powerful. It already affecting to lose the firmness of the grasping towards our life and events. So whenever the grasping is affected to lose their strength, already start to experience the liberation. Therefore, emptiness, become the direct antidote to any of the negative emotions and defilements. Examine the nature of unborn awareness, which is talking about, the unborn here is unawakened, the Buddha nature, the absolute nature of our mind, which is absolutely, unstained by its own nature with the negative emotions. All the negative emotions that what we have, it's just like a temporary. It's just a misunderstanding. There's no fact. There's nothing factual there. It's all just misunderstanding. In our mind. So all the negative emotions, we have to come to a conclusion that all negative emotions, including anger, including ignorance, it's like a cloud. It's like a time to time cloud appearing in the clear sky. The cloud is not the nature of the sky. Therefore, so hopeful, there will be a bright day. is so hopeful that there will be the absolute clarity of our mind, as long as we recognize the cloud as a cloud, cloud as just a temporary obscuration, not a not an innate obscuration. It's just a temporary obscuration, and that has to happen in our day-to-day life through application of, the Buddha's teaching on wisdom. Whenever anger arises, we have to train our mind to have the awareness of the anger that arises. It's not an innate nature of our mind, just a temporary. It's like a water bubble, just come and you just acknowledge this is anger, but then don't support to elaborate it. Don't support our angry mind to exaggerate. Exaggerate it is understanding, because angry mind's understanding is all mistaken. And the greatest mistaken is the mistaken of apprehending true existing enemy, or true existing harm giver, or true existing disturbance. Because of that, then the anger might intensify it, then suffer. You see, so the wisdom is just simply anger arises. Okay, nothing to surprise. We are ordinary being, samsaric being. Anger arises, Even someone who's been practicing 40, 50 years, doing a lot of retreat, doing a lot of practices, but then time to time get angry, or time to time get attachment. That as long as we still within the samsaric existence, our mind is not fully awakened yet, then nothing really need to be shocked. After practicing 40 years, that once a year I get angry once. Don't need to. But after arise the anger and unable to extinguish it, unable to let go of the anger or detach the anger, that shows the failure of practice. If we hold on to the anger, or if we support the anger to exaggerate, or intensify the misunderstanding, and then that shows the failure of practice. You see, so like I used to say that like Buddha, 10 Bhumi Bodhisattva, ordinary Bodhisattva, and good practitioner, not Bodhisattva yet, but then someone very deluded here. Not even ready to accept the practice. So someone comes and punch the same amount of force to the Buddha, to the Bodhisattva, and come to me. Buddha also say, "Ayah." The 10 Bhumi Bodhisattva also say, "Ayah." And ordinary Bodhisattva also say, "Ayah." And good practitioner, beginner but good practitioner, also say "Ayah." And I'm not even interested in practice, I also say "Ayah." Maybe even the tone of "Ayah," it may be quite same also. But for Buddha, it's like punch, but interpret differently, or even apprehension of it. There's no grasping at all. For 10 Bhumi Bodhisattva, there's no grasping, but it's not up to how the Buddha would relate to that instance. Then ordinary Bodhisattva, say, "Ayah," okay, forgive him. Object of compassion is very, very powerful. For me to develop compassion, you will still recognize there's a punch. Then comes to you. You say, "Oh, a teaching says he's object of compassion. he's controlled by negative karma, but I think he still wanted to kill me. You know, I think he have intention. But if my compassion intensify, I think I can purify the karma, and he won't harm me anymore. It will take long process. But for me, you know, he want to kill me. Maybe his hand got a poison and already transmitted into my blood. He touched me, you know. So maybe I run to the hospital and just check, you know, is there any virus? Because this person, you know, who I'm sure got a virus here and punch me and put me inside. And then doctor said, there's nothing wrong. He said, no, doctor, you are lying. You're not qualified. You're not qualified. You know, he really, when he punched me, I can see it through his eye that he wanted to kill me. But then that time he don't have knife. Then he put a poison here and push here. Because I saw there's something, some moisture here. Oh, exaggerate, you know. Intensify the negative idea about it, you know. I will suffer tremendously. And the more I exaggerate negatively, the more the negative emotion intensify, elaborate. You know, not just creating so much negative karma, but I'm suffering more and more intense. Oh, I have no sleep. You know, in the moment you go to bed, I think of him. You know, and then you start to revenge, and he don't mean it. He just you felt that he give you a big massage. You know, the Bodhisattva also felt that, oh wow, he accumulated so much merit because he came to massage me. But now I think that he's killing me. And I start to say, oh, if I don't eliminate him, he will come back and kill me. So therefore, I go and kill him. And he's perished. You see? So now, so this is the difference. How much level of practice that you have and you don't have. You know, feeling the punch is equal to everybody, but how you interpret, how you apprehend, totally different, based on how much practice you have. So in our life, yeah, sometimes we get angry. Don't worry about it. But if you can't let go of angry, then you should worry about it. You know, if the angry stays still 2 more days, then means you have to worry very hard. So anyway, okay. So examine the nature of unborn awareness. You know, so it requires deep thinking. So the starting point, you know, just simply settling your mind and try to withdraw all the gross, you know, gross senses, gross perceptions, and try to, you know, remain in the concentrated aspect of awareness. And the more aware you become, the more concentrated you become, you know, it will come to a point that sense of lightness, you know, sense of clarity, you know, it's like feel that there's as if that you're able to perceive everything with total clarity, and in the state of like a sense of very uplifting, very spacious, you know. And if you intensify that, then you will come to a point that you will see the state of voidness, yet it is tranquility. So the state, state of our inner nature of mind is voidness, vast, cognizing, and tranquility. You know, the peacefulness. So when you experience that, you experience inner peace. You know, so and this is necessary in order to awaken, you know, all the potential of our mind, which is you know, becoming Buddha, becoming fully awakened in all the qualities and all the peacefulness. So this is talking about, so examine the nature of unborn awareness. The remedy itself is a release in its own place. So, you know, even the mind that which look for the true nature of mind also has to dissolve into voidness. Not something that, you know, there's an object to be looked or object to be watched. You know, the moment you see the voidness of the true nature of mind, using the another aspect of mind, which is the wisdom, when you realize the voidness, when you reach to the absolute nature state of your mind, then even that the separate wisdom that you are using it, that also should dissolve and rest in that own nature. So that means everything, you know, able to rest in absolute one experience of voidness and bliss. Place your meditation on the nature of the foundation of all. Place your meditation on the nature of the foundation of all, the essence of the path. So, you know, all the meditation technique, you know, whatever meditation technique that you learn from Buddha Dharma, have to come to a point that absolute unify the wisdom and method, which is, you know, when you experience the innate nature of mind, you experience the voidness. When you experience the voidness, you experience the inner peace. You experience the joy. Even the experience of joy also dissolve into voidness. You unify emptiness and you unify wisdom and method. You know, so nothing other than that. In the meditation break, be a creator of illusion. So in order for us to have that effective meditation, to really to recognize, you know, our Buddha nature and, you know, cause it to awaken. During the pause meditation, which is during our usual activities, whenever our five senses are, you know, relating to their own dedicated objects or dedicated objects, like whatever you see, whatever you hear, whatever you feel, whatever you think. Every time, you know, the moment you see, you have to have one mental factor that educate that perception by saying that, you know, it is not inherent existence. It is like illusion. You know, if you are already able to view like an illusion, then wonderful. You know, even though not realized, but then continue to view it. But then our mind is so habitual in a concrete fixation of inherent. It is not easy for us to, whatever we see, you know, we feel like illusion. It's not easy. Whatever we hear, you know, hear like illusion. No, it's not easy. So, in order for us to get to a point that whenever we see things, you know, we see the lack of inherent of what you see, we need to educate our mind. So whenever I see this Bodhala image, you know, my first impression to my eye and the message that what I receive to my six consciousness is like inherent base, true existent base. Not only that, even a permanent base. Because there's no description, there's no understanding at all about impermanent. There's no understanding at all about, there's no idea at all about rest of the wisdom. So I need to, my assigned mindfulness to remember to educate my mind whenever I see the Bodhala. I say, okay, the Bodhala, the way you see is not what it is. You know, the Bodhala exists a different way, the way how you perceive. the interdependency existing of this potala. So by educating that, eventually come to a point that it's like a magician seeing the magician's horse. The magician make a stick into a horse. For the magician, you still see the horse is dancing, performing on the stage, but you clearly know that it's not horse. You have awareness of the mantra, the substance. You're just tricking people. You know that, but you still laugh, and you have a choice to see it. You enjoy the show together, but you know clearly that it's not horse. But then the people who are watching, it's totally different. No idea at all about the magic behind. You really see the horse, magician's horse, as a horse, and not only that, you apprehend and you grasp. Plus, you grasp strongly in your imprint that today's horse broke the leg, and I feel pity. Suddenly the magician horse, show a breaking leg. Someone who has so much compassion to horse, you can't sleep because you keep thinking the horse must be very painful. The horse today on the stage broke the leg, and don't know whether this guy bring the horse to the bed or not. And I heard in this city there's no horse vet. So how this horse is coping now? And affects so much emotionally, and maybe it starts eventually, instead of sleeping, it start to accuse the magician man, this bad guy, let the horse to dance on the stage, and break his leg, and there's no sympathy. So anyway, so educate that eventually we're able to have this the mind that in the meditation break, be the creator of illusion. So we need to educate. So that's how we create to our mind to see as illusion. It is like a diamond, the sun, and the billion tree. So, sorry. Yeah. Thank you. So I think there will be many similar like these mistakes, abundance of mistakes. My reading, my English, my expression. So it is like a diamond, the sun, and the healing tree. So so here meaning is that whatever we experience in our whatever events comes in our way, comes to our six senses, you have to transform, you have to bring into to actualize the if oneself is not actualize the wisdom and method, then take as the opportunity to fulfill the wishes of actualizing the two wisdom and method, or the two altruism. If someone is already actualized Bodhichitta and emptiness, then any events comes in contact in your life, take as a wish-granting jewel to enhance that and make it most productive to eradicate the defilement and to actualize full enlightenment. So so every single experience it become like a diamond, who free the poverty. If someone have a diamond, free the poverty, like a sun without any kind of expectation, always shined, and give a lot of benefit to the living beings and living things. And the healing tree, it's just whatever. even if it is a healing tree, not just the fruit, but even the leaves and the branches, everything, has a healing component. It's only benefits. You see, so whatever experiences during meditation or during post meditation, but here especially talking about during post meditation, good or bad experiences happen, everything take as a conducive condition, like a wish granting jewel to enhance or actualize the Bodhichitta. When the 5 degeneration of flourish, transform them into the path of full awakening. So in particularly, so it is like a diamond, it is like a diamond and sun. From here, discussing about the relative Bodhichitta. So before that is talking about the ultimate Bodhichitta, emptiness. So it is like a diamond on word, talking about the Bodhichitta, the conventional Bodhichitta or relative Bodhichitta. So when the 5 degenerate time flourish, transform them into the path of full awakening. So in particularly, this degenerated time, there are a lot of crises in emotional level, in physical level, environmental level. So whatever it is, everything turn into a condition to develop bodhicitta. In particularly sentient beings, either animals or either human beings, whenever they relate to us, relate to yourself with negatively, then take that as take that harm giver as a wish granting jewel, to develop the greatest level of compassion and actualize perfect the path of the Mahayana. So we have to live to a point that nothing can be complained. Everything is beneficial. Physically, one experience the degeneration of life to death, like experiencing the degeneration of the 5 elements and 80 conceptual thoughts. Very painful, unbelievable, destructive. But then, as someone who aspire in the practice of true altruism, then you take even that as to take upon numberless sentient beings' sufferings and misfortune to oneself, and dedicate entire virtues, entire goodness to the rest of the numberless sentient beings. So Chargo, it says, any obstacle, business or relationship or health or emotional, as long as anything is bad thing coming in our way, immediately, instead of feeling negative, feel that this is the opportunity that for me to truly mean it, what I've been aspire to, take sufferings of others and offer the goodness to others. My late guru, I think those of you who saw the movie, late Geshe Lama Kuncho, the doctor said he diagnosed stomach cancer. And before went to the hospital, Geshe Lama says that, no, I have no cancer. But then he have a student who is gynecology? Okay. Oncology? Okay. So, sure that you have, and you have to go through the operation and this and that. And including, due to lack of my wisdom and merit, that I believe more in the doctors, and I didn't believe in Geshe-la. He said, they say cancer, better remove it. So I also kind of pushed. And Geshe-la somehow become helpless, No one listening to him. And went to hospital, and the doctor says the operation goes only for 3 hours. And the cancer is on the surface level on the stomach. And he's not coming out from the operation theater even after 6 hours. And after the operation, we asked about it. It says, "Oh, we cannot find the cancer on whatever it shows," And at the end, they just say that it's somewhere beneath, and they have to take out all the stomach or something like that. So, so then after he get up from the medicine, then we just I feel regret, and I asked Geshe that I'm going to. It's not, I'm going to ask the doctor to show me the evidence that really there's a cancer, and I start to doubt, they're checking, and I start to think that I think Geshe is right, but then that time, because you can see, take our entire stomach and cut from here to here, and the word from the bed, Geshe says, no. You go and buy a flower. So I had to go down and buy a flower bouquet to offer to the person who made operation for him. Then after that, asked me to go and buy flowers and this and that to all the people who encouraged him to go an operation. And he said he thanked everybody that been praying that may all other suffering ripen upon me and happiness ripen upon others. It didn't really become intense like now is happening, because it's really painful. So he said that now I can feel, I really mean it, and I really appreciate. I thank you for putting me in the position to go through this. I'm so thankful. I'm so appreciative. So everyone got flower bouquets and thank you and this and that. I'm very angry. You see, I'm very angry, but then he's tried to pacify you. He understand. He just say, "Oh no. It's a very very kind, very kind. I'm so fortunate. I got a chance to go through this." And he's expressing that all through. He lived about 1 year. He expressing that all through the year. How fortunate that, because every single day I can see degenerating, his bodies are degenerating. And every single day he's getting happier and happier and more relaxed, So like that. So that's something what he meant here. Okay, now time gone. Okay. Banish the one object of every blame, which is the egoistic, self-centered mind. So that's the one. Meditate on the great kindness of all living beings, including the harm givers. Practice a combination of both giving and taking. This is the one. That's what Geshe Lam Kunjo is saying. Now it's time to really, you really mean it, taking other suffering onto you, because you really can feel the pain. You see, and giving, yes, mentally, but he's really in action. Someone who cut the stomach, I'm so angry, but he say give flower, and flower bouquet, no one stick. And it's really expressing so thankful like that. Comments taking progressively from your own side. So here meaning is that the practice of taking giving can be very challenging, mentally as well as even a physical level, like even a generosity, to give material things to others is not easy. So it's saying that first time you can practice from right to left hand. Say you have one precious thing in your right hand. Say, okay, come, I give to you. You give to left hand. The left hand say, thank you. Then you say, thank you very much. And now I also want to give to you. Say, thank you. At least start with that. And mentally, there's when I was in Serra, within our compound, we got one dog called Kimari. So one time he got wound with maggots like that. So one of my classmates, he eventually obtained the name of called the spoiled doctor. he's not doctor, but he has a heart and he want to do something. He think he knows how to treat. So he go and get scissors and this and that and try to act like a doctor, wear some kind of apron. And so later after that we label him as a spoiled doctor. And anyway, he did his very best. And we were taught about all these practices and try to practice, And you look at in front of the dog, a lot of maggots, and the wound is so terrible. And you close your eye and, may all these dogs suffering ripen upon me. Oh, fear comes. It's really, I felt that it's like, I think in a certain time maybe the wound will ripen upon me, like that kind of fear comes. But in actual karmic fact, no such thing. If you don't create the karma, you won't. Some more, if it's coming from compassion, it only heals. It just benefit the being by this the frequency of compassion, but it's not something this wound will come on you. See, but then again, as a fragile practitioner, beginner, you're really scared. And I couldn't do. But then I find a way how I can do something. And I found out that I got a gastric, so I got gastric problem. So whenever the gastric comes, I say, may this gastric be sufficient of experiencing. It's not like taking on you, because you are not capable to, even mentally. But at least since I'm still pain, and may this pain be sufficient of these dogs, the wounded pain. So after doing that, sometimes there's a natural, slightly extra wisdom arises in you, like kind of saying, oh, if you didn't create a karma, how could possible that this wound ripen upon you? So in fact, it's mainly to develop your heart, like that kind of thing. So there's a, the gradual way of practicing. So here basically it's, it's talking about something like that. So place these two aside, the breath. So first you can, train the taking and giving through breathing practice. Whenever you're breathing out, then just simply, cultivate that you're giving all your goodness, merits, and, benefits to all sentient beings. Whenever you breathe in, taking all other sentient beings, suffering its causes in your mind. These are three objects. There are three objects, three poisons, and three sorts of virtues. So three objects are the object of attachment, loved one and relatives and etc. friends. Object of aversion, enemies, and object of ignorance, the rest of the other sentient beings. The three poisons are the attachment, ignorance, attachment, anger. And three virtues, three sources of the virtues are non-attachment, non-anger, non-ignorance, wisdom. So remember this by repeated recollection. So always, keep in mind that the whole purpose is to purify the three poisons in relation to the three objects and actualize the three virtues. Practice every activity by these words. So always reminded, whenever we engage in our activities. Okay, thank you. We will go for break. Okay. Okay. No, just water will do. I will sit here. Please enjoy your tea.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay. I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it was a spike implant.
Yes, yeah.
Not too tired? No. You sure?
That's good though.
It is, yeah, it's got some great stuff in there, yeah.
I'm just going to turn this off so we don't broadcast
Oh, okay.
over YouTube.
So the third point from the 7th point is practice of patience. When the container and its content are filled with the evil, change these adverse circumstances into the path to full awakening. So this is the utilize every immediate circumstances for meditation. Possess the 4 preparation, the highest of means.
The 4 preparations.
4 kayas. 4 kayas. So it has the 2 aspects, the causal aspect and the resultant aspect. The practice of cultivation of wisdom and method will lead, basically asking to practice method and wisdom will lead to the result of the 4 kayas, which is the 4 bodies of the Buddha. So when the container and content, the container here referring to our aggregates, in particularly, physical aggregates, and it is content, which is the mind, the consciousness, filled with the evil, delusions, the evils, delusions, hallucinations, dualistic appearances, negative emotions. Change these adverse circumstances into the path of awakening. So this physical contaminated the container, which is the physical, our aggregates, which is contaminated by karma and delusion, take this boat to actualize the 2 altruism, and the whatever that the content, whatever evil, such as negative emotions, defilements, is contained within our mental continuum, utilize that to, bring about the purification of those evil afflictions, to able to discover, our true nature of mind. Change these adverse circumstances into part of. So, whatever, so all these circumstances, samsaric circumstances, to actualize the path, the wisdom and method, to actualize the result of Buddha's 4 kaya, Buddha's body, the enlightened Dharmakaya and Rupakaya. The aggregate that what we possess has the potential, potential to purify it, and that purification itself is the potential to actualize the paths and the state of the Buddhahood. So therefore, any suffering arises, negative circumstance arises, we need to, transform into a practice of patience. The patient has, 3 different degrees of patience. One of the patience is called the enduring suffering, patience of enduring suffering. So the samsara itself is the nature of suffering, and enduring here is, instead of get influenced by the suffering, rather taking that into the opportunity to develop altruism. When there's no suffering, won't be able to develop compassion. So because of this suffering, able to develop compassion. Because of compassion, able to develop bodhicitta. Because of the bodhicitta, able to actualize Buddha's rupakaya. And developing wisdom in relation to the suffering, can able to purify the grasping to the suffering. That able to develop wisdom realizing selflessness of self and selflessness of phenomena, and that will able to lead to actualize the Dharmakaya bodies of the Buddha. So fourth point is practice of diligent. Gather together the average acquaintance of this advice, blend the practice of one life with the 5 force. The instruction for the great vehicle transmigration of consciousness is to apply those very 5 force, lying in the perfect position, all Dharma collection into one intention, retain the true witness of the foremost importance. So whatever virtues that we accumulate, whatever virtues that we know, we learn, we accomplish, should summarize into 5 power, 5 force. Blend the practice of one life with the 5 force within this lifetime. All practice have to summarize it, otherwise it will be scattered too many. So the 5 force, the force of intention. So these 5 force apply, enhance these 5 force within the lifetime, then take these 5 force as a transferring our consciousness at the time of dying to the higher rebirth, or if possible, enlightenment. So the sequence of application of these 5 force differ from the lifetime practice and the practice that you take at the time of dying. So first, what are the 5 force? The force of intention, that always whatever action that we perform through our perception mind should be bodhicitta intention, altruistic intention. Second is the habituation, the force of habituation, which is consistent practice or consistent habituation of true altruism. Means all the time, whatever practice we may do, preliminary or actual practice or tantra or sutra, always interpret in the development of bodhicitta and wisdom emptiness. So this is the habituation that we need to conduct throughout the lifetime, throughout the practice. Then the third is the force of white seed. We call it the force of white seed, meaning, our heart, our mind, try to plan, try to live as much as virtuous imprint as possible. Try to avoid to living imprint of negativities. So, always think positively, think virtually, act virtually, say virtually, So like following the Buddha's statements, never commit non-virtuous, commit only wholesome actions of body, speech, and mind. Bringing that application. So living abundance of virtuous imprint. Then fourth is force of purification. So we need to not just accumulate merit, but not just accumulate virtuous imprint, but we need to do, consistent purification practice, because from beginningless lifetime up to now, no doubt that there are a lot of negative accumulations from our body, speech, and mind, and that without purifying that, even how much virtues we accumulate, we cannot progress in our path. So, so the purification practice, through prostrations, through 35 Buddha's practice, or Vajrasattva practice, or and whatever purification practice we do, by engaging the four opponent power. So in the Vinaya Sutra, Buddha said, there's not even one single negative karma that cannot be purified by the application of four opponent power. That means even a heinous crime can be purified if we purified in the practice of four opponent power. So four opponent power, first one is power of reliance, which is a refuge, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. Then second one is power of regret. Here regret meaning recognizing negative as a negative, recognizing negative act as a negative. Then the third one is power of antidote, such as meditation on wisdom, selflessness or emptiness, meditation on compassion also become antidote. Even including just reciting Vajrasattva mantra or reciting any of the Buddhas and deities mantra also become antidote. And most powerful antidote, like one medicine that cures all the sicknesses, like one Dharma can purify, become antidote to all the negations, is the emptiness, wisdom realizing emptiness. So that is the the third opponent power. The fourth opponent power is power of repentant, which at the end of the earlier three opponent power, when you do the purification practice, you need to come to a point that even in course of my life, that I won't commit such negative karma that you just have purified, from this very moment onward. So without that repentance, purification won't become effective. So when you do all these four, then any negative karma can be purified. So that's the force of purification. Then fifth is aspiration. So we need to always aspire to become Buddha, aspire to be liberated from samsara in these causes, always aspire to be beneficial to the sentient beings' well-being. So always need to, and most of all, always aspire to never to lose, never to lose aspiration to actualize Bodhichitta and emptiness, if you have not actualized yet. If you already actualized, then never to lose the realization on Bodhichitta and emptiness. So these are the five forces that we cultivate within lifetime. So then it is applied, then the instruction for the great vehicle, transmigration of consciousness, for the Mayanic practitioner, even though there are many different techniques from Tantra, like a Phowa practice, transparent consciousness, but most powerful Phowa practice or transparent consciousness is the five force. Five force is the most powerful. And that Phowa practice or that transparent consciousness can be done by yourself without depending on anybody else. So otherwise, by the time you wait for lamas to come and transfer, you're already gone. Then I think that's not the safe way to do it. The safest way is to lifetime you cultivate these five powers, then take these five powers as a safeguard at the time of dying, and use that to transfer our consciousness. Is to apply those very five forces lying in the perfect position. So once oneself know that okay, my time is coming. Then, in particularly, when you see very clear sign of conclusion of the degeneration of the five aggregates, five elements, in particularly when it comes to third absorption, the third degeneration of the elements, like what do you call the especially the earth element, earth, fire, before wind element. Now I'm mixed up.
Yeah, fire is the third one, I think.
Fire is third one. So, okay. So before the total destruction of the wind element, you are still haven't pronounced the clinical death because it's still breathing is still there, but almost stopping. Like breathe, when people are dying, very long breathe in and out. The moment you experience the fourth, the wind, the element, what you call the degeneration of the fourth element, then breathing is stopped. Then clinical death actualize. So even the first, the conclusion of the four element destruction, you will realize that my time is coming very near. So then that time, try to sleep in the position how Buddha passed away, right in the right side, lying down. Then put your palm on your cheek like this. Then the small finger block the right nostril. Then comfortably, how comfortable that time I don't know, but then just try to lie down as much as in that manner. If you're able to, then then all Dharma collection into one intention, which is all about Bodhichitta, or emptiness, which is all about. Here one is referring to altruism, that altruism either conventional Bodhichitta or ultimate Bodhichitta. Try not to get distracted with other thoughts. Or even there may be so many different level of practices there. Some are very elaborate in numbers, elaborate in visualizations. We may not cope, in such period. So the best is just focus on altruism. Retain the true witness of the four most importance. So meaning is being focused on either emptiness or either bodhicitta is most important. So and that can be done with the five force. And the sequence is first, first is white seat. Try to cultivate any virtuous thought as possible in order for your mind to introduce to the more intense imprint of the practice in lifetime. In lifetime, your practice is the most intense one is cultivation of the bodhicitta and emptiness. But in that weak point, it's a bit difficult directly able to remember bodhicitta and emptiness. So it is more easier that if you cultivate certain, whatever virtuous imprint that you have, whatever easy that arises, let it arise, and that will help to influence, the more subtle imprint of the greater virtues will be arise. So first one is white seed. Second one is aspiration. Then, since still you have this, sensual awareness, still not completely gone, then you make aspiration. If there's any capability relying on holy objects, then do so. If not, at least from your mind, make aspirations of never to be separated from the altruistic mind, to be most beneficial to these numberless sentient beings. Or in another way, that whether I live, whether I die, may my life be most may my life, may my transition, may my rebirth, every single existence of in my identity be most beneficial for the numberless sentient beings. So that aspiration. Then after that, then just do a short purification. In case if there is any negative karma that which not purified, not aware of purification in my lifetime, then may right this very moment, cease with my these contaminated aggregates, entire karma and karmic imprint, cease with these contaminated aggregates. Then after that, then you set a motivation. Set a motivation, altruistic motivation. If I have any time to remain, may my life be most beneficial for all sentient beings. If my time is ending within a moment, then may my transition and the next rebirth be most beneficial for the numberless sentient beings' enlightenment. Then after that, then without much thinking this and that, then be consistent in reminding whatever comes in your mind, either emptiness or either bodhicitta. Keep just remaining focused on that. Then with that manner, try to go into the transition of spiritual death. Then that will able to lead to the virtuous clear light experience. And by the clear light experience, if you are well practiced in lifetime, if you well manage with this five force at the time of dying, may even possibility of becoming Buddha. Therefore there are many practitioners, at the clear light, they remain in Tuktam, the clear light meditation, and they perfect all the 5 paths and 10 grounds and actualize full enlightenment. They obtain the Dharmakaya body of the Buddha. And if not, then if lifetime didn't realize emptiness, then during the natural experience of voidness of clear light, and they take the opportunity to realize emptiness, then unify with the great bliss of Bodhichitta. And not only that, if they are unable to actualize enlightenment within the clear light, then they take the opportunity, go through the 49 days of intermediate state, 7 times of natural experience of clear light. So take the natural experience of clear light of the first week, again go through the same process of the death process, then utilize the natural experience of clear light to realize emptiness. If you already realize emptiness, then use that as a forceful antidote to purify the defilement and actualize enlightenment. If first week not successful, try second week, third week, fourth week, fifth, sixth, seventh. And even though the 7th week is not successful, then you choose to come back as a reincarnation in a human form, continue to practice the Dharma, then try one more round again. So like that. So this is okay, clear. First is the force of white seed. Second one is aspiration. Third is purification. Fourth is intention, motivation. Then fifth is habituation, the constant habituating on the bodhicitta and emptiness, or either of it. But in our lifetime, the training first is intention. Whatever activity we do, we start with the bodhicitta motivation. Second is, keep emphasizing, keep habituating in bodhicitta or emptiness. And third is, try to live as much as virtuous imprint as possible. Fourth is do purification in our day-to-day life, do purification. Fifth is aspiration, make us, at the end of the day, always make an aspiration to be beneficial, whatever life that you have. So this is like that. Then from the fifth point is practice of meditation or practice of concentration. So this is also a teaching to assessing, individual practice, individual progress of the practice of mind training, or individuals' progress of practice in developing bodhicitta. So he said, one is always accompanied by only joyful thoughts. A reverse attitude indicate a transformation. One is trained if one is capable, even when distracted. So, whether your mind is transformed or not, you will see from certain physical, in particularly, mental attitude, mental behavior. So he's saying that Thöda Shishingdu, the more you listen to Dharma, the more you read Dharma books, the more you hear Dharma, then Shishingdu become more gentle, more pacified. Your speech, your physical body, everything become more gentle, more and more gentle. The more you hear Dharma, the more you read Dharma books, the more you study. Gomda Nyemongdu, the more you meditate, the lesser delusion it becomes. The lesser delusion, The more you meditate, the delusion becomes lesser and lesser. So these are the signs, and this is exactly what it's saying. So we need to see the effect of practicing the Dharma, in particularly here the mind training practice, every day to day, that we need to become more and more peaceful within. Less and less negative emotion arises. Even though it arises, but become less and less intense. So reduce the number of like anger or grasping, in a week, in a day, or also reduce the intensity of the anger, the grasping, So if that is happening, then the practice of mind training is working. Your individual's practice of lojong is progressing, or training in the path of the Mahayana is happening. One is trained if one is capable. So then, it's one of the signs that one can sport, or others can sport, is when we encounter adversities, our mind still remain calm. Our mind is still able to transform, and that is the very obvious sign of that your mind training is benefited or developed. When someone provoke with a harsh word or harmful act, then instead of getting angry, rather you feel compassion to the person. So that is a very clear sign. Your compassion is developed, your mind training is developed, your practice of bodhicitta is really, really developing, like that. So whenever good thing happens, the ego never really, the more good thing happens in our life, the more humble you become, the more gentle and humble you become. A wonderful sign. So then the number 6 is a practice of wisdom. This discuss about the discipline of mind training. So always practice the 3 general points. So this is the discipline. What are the 3 general points? The subject, the object, and the event. Those are the 3. In 3 points. What is the practice? Seeing the subject, object, the event, lack of inherent existence, or lack of, true existence, or empty of it, empty of its nature. So, in the practice of generosity, the giver, the receiver, and the act of generosity, all lies in the nature of emptiness. So this is what it meant. Even the practitioner yourself of compassion, then the dedication of merit, the full enlightenment, then the rest of the sentient being, all lies in the nature of emptiness. So this is what it means, always practice the three general points. Whatever good thing you do, whatever bad thing, good thing comes in your way, whatever bad thing comes in your way, even accidentally, unintentionally, some negative actions created through our speech or through our mind or through our physical action, then immediately, practice the three general points. So that is how we should discipline our mind in mind training practice. So the immediate effect is we won't grasp onto it. Change your attitude with remaining natural. So we always should change, develop our mind, but then external attitude, we should remain humble. Even though you already realizing Bodhichitta or realizing emptiness, then don't need to show off. We have to remain humble. And we shouldn't claim, go around say that I realize emptiness or I realize Bodhichitta, not like that. But just perform the deeds of wisdom of the practice, but then remain humble. Speak not of the shortcoming of others. So easy. Think not about whatever is seen in others, the negative things. Purify first whichever affliction is harvest. So this is again another very important instruction. There are abundance of negative emotions arises in us. When we want to tackle or purify it, we should first check which one arises the most, which one is most disturbing in your life among so many negative emotions. So for some maybe anger, for some is attachment, for some is jealousy, for some is pride. So you check within yourself and you should spot it. And the first negative emotion that we need to challenge is the most obvious one, the most frequent one. Even though ignorance is the root, but then ignorance, it remain very beneath, not kind of stay, separately alone. Obviously, comes in our way, but it manifests in anger. So then, anger is the most disturbing emotion, and it comes most in our life. Then, the first challenge of mind training practice is to eliminate the anger, diffuse the anger like that. Give up all hopes for reward. So whatever virtues we do, then do unconditionally. Abandon poisonous food. So here the poisonous food is not talking about the normal food that we eat. It's talking about inwardly concerned. So whatever good deeds that we do, don't do for the purpose of name, praise, gain, all this, so don't do for the purpose of the inwardly concern. Do not serve the central object. So don't whatever virtues we do, whatever practice we do, make sure that don't serve the ego. So the more Dhamma practice we have, the more bossy we become. The more initiation we have, you feel like you are like surpassed from everybody, so this sometimes happens. So this is a sign of the practice didn't happen, So the more the initiation you become, the more the back, more you stay behind, and the more humble you become, like that. Maybe not in the West, but sometime in Asia you can you see this kind of like I'm senior, I must have better table, I have a better seat, I'm higher, I'm long time practitioner, something happens like that. Maybe in the West also possible, as long as there's a human possible. So this is something have to be in mind. Like the gurus, like Lama Subarimbuche, just for the purpose of, just for the reason of respecting the Dharma, then of course, he sit on the throne. Otherwise, he would always want to be like the Bodhisattva, like Shapa, put all his students first, and he would just like that. Even in the physical level, if you be service of other, would be more enjoyable than people servicing you, yeah. So anyway, so these are also simple thing, but sometimes can go into our nerves, can go wrong in our So yeah. Be indifferent toward malicious jokes. So whether people criticize you or praise you, there's no difference. If they are sentient being, then they are equal object of compassion, and if not more, especially someone who negatively relate to oneself. Do not lie in ambush. Never strike at the heart. So what do you think? Never strike at the heart. What do you mean?
Do not offend others.
Mm?
Do not offend others.
Oh, do not offend. Offend. Yeah. Okay. Do not load an ox with the load of zo. So asking to practice bodhicitta is something similar like that. Loading the zo's load on the ox. So that's why when whatever practice we do in our very best, without stress, without any kind of. So we also, especially here, I think referring to the emptiness teaching, where someone is not capable to to have the ability to take the understanding of what you call the voidness, then we have to be skillful in delivering, in particularly teaching and emptiness. Do not compete the last minute spirit by a last minute spirit. What do you think? I mean,
you're practicing to later on in life. Get on with it now.
Okay, yeah. Do not be treat what?
Treacherous.
What do you mean? What do you think?
Deceiving others.
Okay, yeah. So anyway, all the bad things we cannot do. Do not bring a good God down to the devil. This is very dangerous. In the name of Dharma, then boost ego is like that. In the name of Dharma, then didn't understand the Dharma, like say in the sutra, talks about taking attachment into path, then didn't understand what it really means, then there's a danger even enhancing attachment like that. Not only that, then in the name of Dharma, in anything evil thing happens. So being got down to devil. Do not inflict misery or possessions of happiness. What does it mean?
Don't cause someone pain, that
Mm.
is
Yeah.
all happiness.
Yeah. So then, 7th point is pause meditation, the practice of pause meditation. So this is the guideline of mind training practice. So how about this one? We read all together. Okay, we read it loudly. Practice all yogas or activities by one. Practice every suppression of interference by one. There are two duties at the beginning and the end. Endure whichever situation arises, either good or bad. Guard both points more precisely than your life. Practice the three harshi. Attain the three peaceful causes. Meditate on the three understandings and attitude. Possess the three inseparable. Always practice with pure object. Cherish the in-depth and broad application of all skill. Always meditate on those closely related. Depend upon other circumstances. Assert yourself, especially at this time. Do not follow inward deeds. Do not be erratic. Do not understand your ability. Be liberated by two, explanation and analysis. Do not be boastful. Do not retaliate. Do not be flicker. Do not wish for gratitude. Before practicing, I examine my expanding action. Then, because of Virtuous, having understood suffering, insult, and criticism, I requested the instruction of taming myself. Now I die. I have no regret. Thank you. We stop here. Yeah. All the three things, there's so many three things. So from the sentence you will understand either talking about the in the beginning, at the middle, at the end, or either the emptiness attitude of the subject, object, and the deeds, or at the beginning, at the middle, at the end. So basically, all have to infused by the attitude of bodhicitta and emptiness. So it's like that. So okay. So we do. We dedicate. So whatever merit that we accumulate through the collective merit, through this session, and all the merit from the past, present, and whatever merit that we accumulate in future, and all the past, present, future merit of past Buddhas, past, present, future Buddhas, may all be cause of temporary and ultimate happiness of numberless sentient beings. We also dedicate whatever merit we accumulate for the beneficial beings like His Holiness Dalai Lama, Kyabje Lama Sopa Rinpoche, and all the the spiritual gurus of this center, and all the past, present, future directors, SPCs, committee members, volunteers, students and friends and families of yours, to have a long life, good health, and fulfill all the aspirations of bodhicitta in life. Excuse me. And also dedicate whatever or the merit accumulated be the cause for pacify all the natural disaster in the world, and also may this merit be cause for all the world leaders to have a compassionate heart, to have a wisdom, of interconnectivity, so that they, everyone start to help each other rather than harming each other. Yeah. So in In short, we dedicate the merit of ours as like the past Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like Bodhisattva Samanthabhadra, or like our Guru, like Kyabche Lama Sobramaji, how he dedicated the merit. May our merit also dedicate just like that. So they dedicate ourselves, the merit, and the object of dedication, all lies in the lack of inherent existence. All lies in the nature of emptiness. Saji beje joje mendo dam re rable jen de jemba de sanje shindo migde bewa dogu namda shin la che barai sho ye dama guru rana mendala gani yada ya mi chanjo zemjo rimboje maje banam jejoje jeba nyamba meba yang gone gondo bewarai jo Tongye dawa rimboje maje banam jejoje jeba nyamba meba yang gone gondo bewarai jo Rimye dawa rimboje maje banam jejoje jeba nyamba meba yang gone gondo pewarai jo Kari rave gove shingamde pendan dewa mali chungwe ne chere sewa tenzin jazo shabe side bado den juroje tupzu chanche jangwen jawe den zinjon bebe kunzu dobo chozon gove leme turuba dazo duje gun shabden jo. Okay, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your patience, your attendance. Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. Oh, I have some blessing strings to share. If you like, any of you like to have, please come and have it. So this one is blessing, bless during the Kala Chakra initiation. Also through Thagri Rinpoche, got blessing from His Holiness. Kyabche Lama Sopa Rinpoche, Sakya Tenzin Rinpoche, Punzo Rinpoche, and there's one nun who done a lot of retreat, Nyungne and Virtuous retreat, also make prayers. So if you like to have, please come. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Tujena. Thank you. 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 Yeah, please. Thank you. Oh, yeah. This. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Just like to give you these small offerings from on behalf of everybody here.
Thank you.
Of the wider community, GMAs.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for coming to teach us for your
you.
first visit, and we hope that you'll come back many more times now that you've made a connection with us here in Leeds. Many people have said that they'd like
You're
to come
not
back,
enough
so-
with my blah 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 mumbling. That's okay.
Many people have said that they'd like you to come back, so please
Oh,
do
okay.
come back. and-
Thank you. Sure. Yes, definitely. I will definitely come back. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Thank you very
Just
much.
a couple of announcements about things going on this week at the centre. We're still in the Days of Miracles. This is day 8 of 15.
Oh, yeah.
We're continuing our puja every day, a marathon. And Adam's going to do the puja tonight, which is Medicine Buddha. So that'll be, maybe after 10-15 minutes when people have settled down, and then we'll start that. And this week also there's exciting things going on. We have a new courses on Tuesday. We have the first of the Discovering Buddhism spiritual teacher. If you're just prompt me. Is that this week, is it?
It
It
is,
is, yes,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Wednesday we have a new class starting about Buddha nature, and then Thursday we're continuing the Buddhism in a nutshell, which is good for those people who don't know much about Buddhism to start with, learning about the three principles of the path, etc. And the last of the Days of Miracles is Friday, so if you want to come and join us for the big puja to finish with, that will be I think 6:30 on Friday, Chittamani Tara Puja. Thank you all very much for coming. Lovely to see you. Thank you.
Wow, a lot of things happening. Rejoice.